It's important not to overlook that there's something completely mysterious about this process. It's easy to listen to someone talk about realization, awakening, Buddhism, etc., and mistake what they're describing for a paradigm, for a way of seeing the world, or a way of viewing yourself, your life, practice, enlightenment. If the pointing is clear, if the pointing is authentic, then what's being pointed to is not a paradigm. It's not a view. It's not a way of seeing reality. It's not a belief, not a set of beliefs. It's not a paradigm. So it's not something that you can compare point by point to someone else's experience and say, yes, this is the right experience. So always take so-called spiritual teachers or me or anyone who makes videos like this and writing, even the best, most eloquent pointing through language. Always take it with a grain of salt. If it works in the moment, if it opens something, wonderful. It's done its job. Your job is to surrender to it or attune to it willingly, or recognize and acknowledge the false narratives that keep us distracted with thought. So, in a sense, what you're really up to in this process is a lot of letting go, a lot of relinquishing beliefs, views, illusions, specifically the illusion of control, that you're somehow in control of this thing called your life. Now, I'm not negating the immersive experience you're having right now of the sounds and feelings and thoughts and movements of consciousness, the visual experience. That's not what I mean when I say the so-called life, the apparent life. The apparent life that we're managing, or that we think we're managing, is itself a thought or a paradigm. So the sense of the one who's struggling, the manager of life, and the sense of the life that needs managed are two sides of the same coin, and they're both based in thought. They're based in mental perceptions, formations of the mind that make things look a certain way. Because things aren't a certain way. Things are far too free to be a certain way. Reality is far too free to be encapsulated in a paradigm, in a view, or in a personal narrative. What's here, what's real, is far too vast to be contained in a self, a personal self, a separate self. It's far too vast even to be encapsulated by consciousness, as expansive and free as consciousness can feel when we relinquish our thought-based identity and take the backward step into the vastness of consciousness. That's only the beginning. Things go far beyond that in terms of realization. The subtlety, the paradox is so exquisite, so pronounced, so profound, that it's laughable that anyone's words can encapsulate it, define it. So hold things lightly. hold teachings and pointings lightly, maps, etc. Even if they resonate deeply with you in one moment, that's wonderful. Don't solidify them later. Don't turn them into a view. At some point, the unfolding of this, call it life in the most broad way of speaking, the unfolding of reality, the empty fullness, this becomes your teacher, or it becomes your tuning fork, or it becomes the map. It's the map that ever changes. It's the map of radical intimacy and immersion that's so complete that there's nothing that can be said anymore. So the ultimate map is to go off the map completely, unequivocally. That's liberation.